Ladies and gentlemen, investors and traders alike, we're here for another OTC Stock Talk live open mic session with Kiko Stocks, Shido, and JRC Stocks. We're here to talk about everything that you've got in the OTC markets, all the latest buzz and due diligence information. We're here to build a community to help make you a better seasoned investing trader in penny stocks. We all want to see the liquidity pick up and companies that deserve the attention to get that type of attention right here. We go ahead and get Kiko up here on the mic too. There's a lot of stuff to talk about actually today. I saw quite a few things that caught my attention. Not a lot of volume, but definitely a lot of stocks to talk about. I pulled the decliners list and the advancers list. I only went after notable stocks, that had enough dollar volume flowing through them that they were worthy of talking about, because it's a ghost town out there.
Can you believe it? We really need something. We need something to light a fire under these butt cheeks out here.
Why don't we all get flamethrowers and go help? Because man,
I know
this shit's sad.
Every other market right to the moon too.
Yeah. Well, we always trail behind everything else. People go and make money in the big markets, and they come and spend their money in OTC, playing with their bet money afterwards. Hey, for those that are in the room, go ahead and share the space. We're going to get started here in a second. We've already got people coming up to talk, so we're going to get right into it. I just want to give a little shout out to two decliners that we've talked about before. RONN, RONN, down 42%. They traded $230,000 in volume today, 117 million shares. Ouch for all those people that got in. I hope they aren't bag holders now. CBIA. They didn't trade any.
Yeah.
CBIA only traded $1,000 in volume, but they're down 33% and only traded 8 million shares. Those are the two decliners I have for the day.
Yeah, it was sad to see on RONN. It was a nice move, but all that dollar volume, I think, just went right into RONN's pocket, to be honest with you. The cross trades were sick. It was just unbelievable. So nasty.
Well, there wasn't anything substantial. It was a lot of buzz. Nothing substantial that would cause the stock to move like that. Just some people talking about it on social media. Hey, Zaytrade. Didn't mean to not get you up here to speak. Let me invite you to speak real quick. You got a stock to bring up and some due diligence? Let's do it, man. Yeah, what's going on?
What's up? So this is actually one of my first times jumping in and stuff. So I really came to listen and see what you guys are talking about. But Kiko here, man, this guy, I think our birthdays are similarly close together. If not, I think our birthdays are really close. Mine's the 23rd of March, and I believe his is closer. So I just want to say happy belated birthday. I didn't reach out and say that.
Thank you. Happy belated birthday to you. I'm the 17th.
Yeah, I knew we were close, man. Closer out somewhere. But yeah, I just came to listen and see what you guys are talking about. I'm pulling up all the charts here at the same time. I'm relaxing, so I'm just here to learn and see what kind of input I could put in along the way.
Anything?
GMGI. They just update GMG Golden Matrix Group. GMGI. Right. Oh, yeah, they just updated their information on NASDAQ.com. It's sitting just under 300 million market cap, and they're very, very undervalued. And they haven't had a lot of volume lately, but they just finished a $300 million acquisition, and it's profitable, operating with high margins. And I'm projecting a strong breakout for that stock and a lot more attention over the coming months. Right? I would love to get your opinion about it later.
Yeah, I actually pulled up in a quick second here. I'm actually running it through a CNN forecast. So there's a trick, my friend, when he used to work at TD Ameritrade, before he went to Citi, he told me this trick about CNN forecast. So usually any ticker that is in the space that has any analyst looking at it, if you go to CNN Money, if you type in CNN Money and then you put in the ticker symbol after, it'll always take you to a forecast. The forecast, if there's one there, then
there's no analyst.
Yeah. It's a good thing to go off of, because it's there's analysts looking at it at the same time. So if the market's setting up to move, or it looks like it's going to do something, it's kind of good to have a forecast about what some analysts think about at the same time. And it's through CNN Business, so it's I'd rather take information always from CNN Business and see how it, how it reflects onto the chart I'm looking at now. But
Nice.
I'm looking it up here. I don't, if I'm not mistaken, there's still,
you're not going to see anything until a few days ago. This was a nano cap NASDAQ stock.
Oh, interesting.
And with this acquisition, they've just become a small cap. So this will be the first time they're able to get hedge funds and institutional buying and stuff like that of any substantial amount, and probably the first time they'll have some analysts start to pay attention to them.
Yeah, that'll be pretty interesting there. But yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll take a look at that and keep it on there. I might just throw a little start position just to see how it does within this week. So, start a position here this week and then see how it goes until June, July. But I really don't want to take up so much space. I know there's other people that want to talk, man. So I'm gonna give my space back here.
All right, no worries, man. Hey, pleasure having you up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So anyone get their hand up if they're interested. The one that I was looking at today was this IWAL, and IWAL? It's IWAL.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, what is IWAL? What is
So IWAL used to be a company.
iWallet Corp.
Yeah, and they were making wallets, just like like some of these like hard-sided fiber, like carbon fiber wallets, whatever.
Yeah, to keep somebody from scanning your card from walking by.
Yeah, and that was years ago. And then over the past couple of years, they've kept this thing current. They've always filed on time. They've pretty much. They've done everything. And then
holy crap.
Just
share structure is sexy.
It's insane. I mean, the AS is only 75 million. And then today, out of nowhere, they pop up a Twitter account and drop an 8K saying this is our official Twitter account. Look to hear more from us. And this is the first time we've heard from them in an official capacity in, God, I don't even know, like 5+ years, 10 years.
I got to get them on the space. That would be a great person. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Because they're, and I've been saying for years to people, like, this is a setup that when they come to life, frickin' look out. And here we are today, brand new Twitter account, 8K out. And on that share structure, I mean, they could just rip. And you see that held at DTC has no changes since 2020.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'd put that one on your watch list for sure.
So did you use a scanner to find that?
So yeah, the other day I saw that it got some volume, and I said in the chat, I said, keep an eye on that. They might be doing something there because I've never seen this like get volume basically. And so that was maybe, I don't know, I want to say 3-4 days ago. And then today when I saw that 8K come out, I was like, oh, okay, so it is go time here. So yeah, they're revving up to talk about something. I don't know what, but look out.
Nice. Good find, man. iWallet Corp.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're still doing wallets. I doubt it. But I mean, per their last quarterly, I think that they are done with wallets. They're currently focused on, they still say they're doing a bit of wallets, but yeah, we'll see what they got. And so they're improving their designs. They're adding facial recognition, GPS tracking.
To a wallet?
I guess. So, I mean, they're having a new wallet come out. But, I mean, if it's a sick wallet, and maybe they got the crypto in there or whatever, look out, man.
Crypto. Now, that's what I immediately thought of when you said the name of the company. I was thinking it was like a phantom wallet or a digital wallet of some sort, and I was wondering how they were going to match up with some of the other available options. But you're talking about a physical wallet. Now, if they come up with some digital physical wallet with facial recognition before you can open it, that's one expensive wallet.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they have to say. I mean, for me, I still have my 2005 chain wallet. You know, I still have a
There
chain
you go.
wallet. It's a long chain, but you know, I wear it.
Yeah.
I wear it low chain. So maybe it's time to upgrade. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm still going to ask if they come on the spaces. I'm going to ask if I can attach my chain to it. That's what I'm going to do.
So iWallet, got it on my watch list, man.
Shido, how are you hanging in, man?
Hey guys, what's up? How am I hanging in? Tough 2 days. I 3 days now. Was really quiet on my end, at least. We talked about it earlier, Pat, today. If you remember when I said to you in the first 2 hours today, I mean, I was like, how could everything suddenly have zero volume in the entire OTC? That was so weird from one day after to another. You know, Monday was pretty good still, and then Tuesday was a whack fest across the board, and then it got so quiet. But at least they woke up with some trips later today, so at least we have this. Maybe it's spilling over to our stocks then at some point. I guess it's moves like ILST is good for the OTC. And
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it frees up some capital for people,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
I hope they deploy it somewhere where they don't get rebagged. Like to see them buying that Hero again today. I was like, man, like how many times do you have to get hurt? You know, and like to continue. You know, it's like, oh, he said sorry this time. You know, like it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I hope most of the guys they take their profits in these great runners. I mean, I know some of them they always do. I mean, they who are longer in the business and stuff. But I hope the others do it as well, so that they don't get backed on these.
I'm shocked at how short the memory is because, you know, once upon a time, if something did something like Hero did, you know, 10 times in a row, basically what they've done over the last 2 years, people would be like, you know what? No. But it's like the memory is just, it's like Men in Black, you know what I mean? They just flash their face and they're buying Hero again. Like, it's just wild to me.
Yeah, they don't care. As soon as there is some volume in there, and it doesn't matter. Like basically, they buy everything. Yeah.
Frustrating.
Did y'all see MRNJ?
No, what happened there today?
I'm just laughing. They were up 4,900%. I don't know. I wonder if they had just done a reverse split. No, the stock, they only traded $1.7 thousand worth of stock, but they were up 4,900%. What a crazy move. Not that you could buy a substantial amount and get out, but
yeah,
I haven't seen that stock ticker in a while.
I think it was no bid because I see it's at quad 5.
Still at quad 5, yeah.
It's quad 5, so nobody can even buy it. No retail guy can buy it anyway at this price.
What a move!
I don't know.
But on a serious note, ILST was the one that I saw had a good day, man. They did $367,000 in volume, up 90%. That's a pretty strong move for OTC today.
Yeah, huge move and great dollar volume and everything. Yeah, I didn't even. I missed that one yesterday because some were buying this one in trips yesterday, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't. I ignored it, and suddenly today it was really off to the races. So
I'm not
sure. Well, it's been trading sideways since April of last year.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the trigger was. Like a few days ago, they announced a new CEO,
right?
Which was cool, and then the announcement came out, and I was like, okay, well, I watched it for a bit. No one touched it. They didn't even touch it at all, and then all of a sudden, days later after the announcement, they buy it. So I don't. I'm guessing that the trigger wasn't necessarily organic. Like people. Like whatever it was it had to be something from another place because that Like, because I was like, okay, y'all interested in this new CEO, and then nothing, just nothing.
Mm.
And then today they're wild for it, and it's nobody I even know buying it. As strangely, it's so weird.
You go to their Twitter account and look at their post here on April 10th.
All right,
It may explain some things.
Yesterday, maybe that was the trigger.
No, the picture is rather eye-catching. It says a lot about the company, I think.
Oh,
Let me take a look at this.
I think I don't even know their Twitter handle.
I don't know it either. What?
It's ILST Inc. at ILSTINC.
Okay, let's try this out.
Oh, there they are. Mm-hmm.
Very strongly Jewish guys. I mean, you can't miss that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, I thought you were going to be talking about like there was some like bikini shots or something there.
No, if I've ever met a conservative approach to anything, it's definitely every. And I'm not racist in any ways. I love the Jewish nation. I'm saying most everyone I've ever worked with is extremely frugal, conservative, slow to move. Take GMGI for instance. The CEO is Jewish, and he operates that way. And that's not a negative thing. It's actually a positive thing in business. These guys right here have been pretty quiet. The last post was September 13th of 2023. And all of a sudden they're announcing a new CEO, and people found out late and are starting to buy it.
I
wonder what they're going to do.
I guess it took a tweet, you know what I mean? And I guess that's the part that was kind of lost on me, because I was like, okay, the news is out. Anyone looking? But they didn't even read it. They just waited. It needed to be a tweet, I guess. So
there's 5,000 impressions on that tweet, and that account has been quiet forever.
Yeah, 5,000 impressions and that much dollar volume is just something. Yeah, I don't know. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it can't continue, but something doesn't add up there.
Do you know, Pat, how long Alpha Ridge is out of ILST already?
What was that?
Is Alpha Ridge out of ILST for a while now? Or?
You know, the one thing I've found with Alpha Ridge is that, you know, you can never fully wash the stink off.
So is that Frank?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yeah, because Crisco is saying that Frank's loading ILST again, and I was just started laughing.
Because he's not mentioned anymore on their profile, I think, on OTC Markets. He's not there anymore. Because usually he often hangs around as a director or something, but he's not there anymore.
I'll believe it. You know, like, I mean, I've heard that before, but...
Oh, officially, I mean, he might be there in the background.
Before.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I hope it works out. I hope it's great.
Exactly.
That's all you can say. It's not really my cup of tea, because I just, like I said, whenever I do anything that even Frank was formerly involved in, somehow I get fricked. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like it's like a curse.
Mm.
So, can you do something small just for shits and giggles, and check their website out on the app you used last time, the Wayback Machine?
Oh,
or whatever it was.
Do that, yeah.
And just see if they updated something that we're not seeing. It's ILSTINC.com.
All right, here we go.
We're creeping on them.
You got to do it.
Yep.
Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. Throw the website in. Encountered an error. Okay. Hold on.
www.ilstinc.com.
Here we are. I got it. So here's April. Let's go April 2023. So 1 year back. I'm loading it up now.
Some of their brands are Trailer Park Boys, Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, Pineapple Express.
Same website.
Same website. Interesting.
Yeah.
So nothing outside of a tweet and a new CEO.
Yeah, that's
That
correct.
is crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said there's something else going on there, but
We'll
I hope
find
it
out, I
works out.
guess.
Yeah, I hope it works out. Because the reason I hope it works out is because there are a lot of COVID traders stuck in that. A lot. No, seriously. I mean,
Yeah,
because a lot
you're
of our
right.
peers got wrapped up in the world of Frank, and so I hope it's a great move, and they can get freed up and move on to greener pastures, because that one was a massive rug once upon a time. So I hope it's great.
Yeah. Arrested Stock Development just wrote on Twitter that apparently the trigger is that the CEO has a good pedigree. He sold a couple of cannabis companies in the past, so I guess that's what they
And
are
that's
looking
right.
for.
Cool. But he had a good pedigree when they put out the news, and it didn't get any volume. So I guess
Well, okay, so dissemination. Let me share something briefly, because I sold press releases for so long. From the time a press release gets put out, unless you're actually an investor, let me back up. Their press release went out by Access Wire. So the problem with that is Access Wire doesn't connect to the trading platforms directly. They don't have that distribution capability yet. So after it goes out to the main Associated Press, and it says the press release went out at 9 o'clock in the morning, it may be 11 or 12 before it gets distributed everywhere finally. And it won't hit TD Ameritrade or Schwab or any like E-Trade, whatever, any of the trading platforms. You won't find it under their press releases. You won't find it under Apple, like on iTunes or what. I don't know what you want to say. I don't use any Apple products, but they have a specific outlet for you to get stock press releases and stuff like that, and you won't find it there. And that's because of Access Wire. So they didn't get the distribution they want. So it took people at least a day to find out that they even put out a press release the day before. So that might explain the volume change.
Well, that might explain it then. That's interesting to know, because, and that, kind of makes me sad, because, once upon a time, everyone was using Filing RE,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it showed up there. So I was just like, okay, well, surely everyone sees this, right? And I guess not.
No. Access, I mean, I know the people behind Access Wire. I knew the owner. I know somebody that pushes it pretty hard as a sales rep for them, and a lot of respect to them. But they haven't been able to get to the big boy level where they hit the ticker tapes, and that's really where you want to be. So every company I've ever worked with, I recommend to them strongly the lowest end distribution you go for is New Media Wire, because they'll give you a flat rate press release with no word count for like 400 and change. But if you're going with like PR Newswire, Business Wire, or Globe, you're paying you're paying $400 to $600 for 400 words, and an additional $100 and something for every 150 words after that. Like it's egregious. And so by the time you have
Yeah.
like a reasonable press release, hopefully you don't have any tables to format, and it's a financial release, because that's a lot more. You're paying almost $1,000 for one press release to go out, and it doesn't do anything now. You got to have social media to go with it, so you got to pay some company or in-house people to help push it out through social media on top of putting the press out. Then maybe do a video or an interview. There's a lot that goes into it nowadays that some companies just don't have the bandwidth to do.
Yeah. Well, I guess that explains a lot, and it's a great move, and I hope that's good to know about the news stuff for sure. I hope it's a good move for them, and with LTNC and these other ones, freeing people up, it's a really positive thing. And
Yeah.
now I think now the onus will be on some companies, to maybe some fresher faces to come forth, and I guess you just got to be there for it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
What do you think, just off the top of your head? I don't want you to look because I'm just curious what you think. What do you think the market cap of LTNC is right now?
150 million.
Yeah. Can you believe that shit?
I know. I look at that stuff because I I have some stuff that is unbelievable, good setups and good story and whatnot, and you cannot reach 3 million in market cap, you know. And then you see
Yeah.
LTNC sitting there with
148
150 million, and this is something. Yeah, it's always been like this. That's okay. I mean, but if you see that some stuff does not get any respect, you know, then sometimes it's a little bit frustrating. Got to be honest.
Well, they're back over a penny, so I got to give them credit. That's really awesome. And that was a long climb to get back up to a penny for them.
Yeah, and it's moving so thin compared to the float they have officially, and it's all good. It's great move and freed up some cash, and for the OTC, it's perfect. But it's wild. The market cap is wild.
I really think that it's indicative of how much of the float is locked up in these cultists and the company insiders and stuff like that as well. Can't discount Ryan Shadle. I'm sure he's got a ton of shares still because that was his baby originally. So, I mean, I wonder how much real float's available. That's all I'm saying.
There's a ton for now at least, a ton held tight. Yeah.
Well,
So who's up next, man? Raise your hands. Let's talk about some
get your
stocks.
hands up. Let's talk about it. We're wide open. Love to hear some ideas. It's a judgment-free zone, unless, as you know, it is fill. Then you receive judgment. Otherwise, we're free. We're free birds here. People have been getting a kick out of how much I dislike Phil for like a long time now. People still to this day. It's PHIL is the ticker.
Oh, it's a ticker. I thought it was an account.
Can't believe that it's still trading and it still never got the CE or anything. It's wild in my view.
It's the most blatant BS.
Henry Fahman? I know the CEO personally from putting out press releases for him for years. Holy shit.
He plays
I know Henry Fahman.
The same game for at least 5 years. I think I traded this one 8 years ago the first time. Yeah.
Here he is.
Henry Fahman is super old school.
How's it going, James?
Hey, it's good. It's good. Thanks, guys, for letting me ask a question. You know, one of the things in OTC is I always wonder how much technical analysis plays a role in some of the low volume stocks. I see people post some chart analysis on OTC stocks, and I kind of laugh sometimes because I personally feel, and I'm wondering from the group, like, does chart analysis actually give a shit if
it
there's
does.
no volume?
And I'll give you the reason that it does, because I think like it's easy to laugh it off, but the reason that it in the OTC, I think the point of using the chart and what people are posting when they post the chart needs to be looked at from the perspective of understanding the past versus what most I guess gurus do is pretend they're using the chart to predict the future. And so the way I use charts in the OTC is not necessarily about saying, oh, well, this symbol or this trigger is going to cause this or whatever. It's about showing you that, here's the past. Here's how much volume has been at, X level and X level and X level. And here's, whether or not you're a competitor on it and the move it's made. And so when I'm looking at charts, I'm not looking at them from the perspective of telling the future, because no one could tell the future. What I'm looking at them is, okay, where are all the holders at? And where's the point where, those holders begin to maybe sell themselves red, where I need to leave? And, is my entry something worthwhile, or is it decent in relation to the majority of the holders? That's the point of it. And then the next point of it is, sometimes people will post charts on lower volume things that would show like it came down a lot and now it's very low, and yeah, it has not a lot of volume. But the point of that is to say, like, listen, this came down from, this came down 90% on only 100,000 shares. So, if there's a good enough spark here, you basically have no resistance back up to wherever it used to be, which 90% down translates into God knows what up. And so the charts do matter if you're paying attention to and understanding that the point of them is telling the past, not the future.
So if you look in the past, you're saying at these levels we saw volume increase and therefore accumulation happened here. There's probably some holders at these levels, but maybe okay. I like that. That makes sense.
And also it can show you like certain trading patterns. Like if you look at charts, a lot of times you can see when the company's diluting, and you can see the patterns in which they do it, or maybe there's some toxic debt. You can see how people are converting, and it just shows you it's not the same as looking at a big board stock. You're right, but it does give you a lot of indications that can help you in the way you trade the stock.
Yeah, and remember the rule is for seeing dilution on a chart. The rule is increasing volume and less price action. So if you're seeing like more and more and more volume, like early on for me, I was like, oh wow, this is getting lots of volume, but it wasn't moving. You know what I mean? And so you can almost draw a supply and demand curve on the volume bars versus the candles that measure the price, and identify that in fact the supply is increasing, but the demand is either not increasing or decreasing, which can help you spot dilution on a chart pretty easily. And that's another reason that sometimes people post a low volume chart is they'll say, look, like this is holding up here and it's making the turn, and it's pulling away from the volume versus getting drowned in it. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times we're trained to think that this chart that has so much volume on it but is barely moving is the right thing to do, because that's what the advertisement campaign wants you to think. But really it's kind of the opposite.
No, I like it. I trade a lot of bio stocks, and there's always ranges, and so I follow MACD and other averages just to know when a good entry point might be. So in OTC, because there's so many low volume stocks, it's a little bit harder to find that. But I respect looking back and seeing where that accumulation is.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it, because I've gotten that question a few times, like, bro, this has no volume, and I'm like, yes, I do, but if something happens, there's also no dilutive volume on it, so you want to keep an eye on it.
All right, thanks.
RSI is good for knowing if it's oversold or under, overbought. At least, when they have those big pops, they don't always have them, but when they do, you can. I use RSI for that respect.
Yeah, me too. For at certain levels when it's really high, I would say I agree that OTC is not a TA space per se, but there is, as Kiko said, I think there is plenty of stuff that is working nicely in the OTC, like support and resistance. You wouldn't believe how often that works. VWAPs, weekly, getting tested, getting touched, and returns, reverses. There is a lot of stuff, overbought, oversold stuff. I use them for sure, and I'm no technical trader at all. But there is some stuff absolutely working. I think you guys would agree, Kiko.
Yeah, absolutely. And volume weighted average prices are just a great way to trade the OTC, because there's that moment where like if everyone is the volume weighted average price is X and the price is above it, then that you're having an okay move. But if all of a sudden it tanks through that volume weighted average price from the beginning of whatever move, then you could say, okay, I know that retail doesn't sell themselves red, so someone else is printing off a roll of shares and selling here. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the thought.
Yeah, I'm really surprised how often I see that weeklies getting absolutely respected, and they turn, at least for the first time, they turn around. Even the session VWAPs often get, if a stock is really strong, it might not go even to the weekly within the day. It turns around on the session VWAP if it's a really strong move. And you wouldn't believe how often that's the case. Yeah,
absolutely.
And support and resistance also. I mean, you couldn't do it without, because you have to have some lines. I mean, that's the old discussion. You have to have some lines where you at least decrease your position if the stock goes below it or something. You have to have something also in terms of starting to take profits. I mean, I will always start immediately to take profits on the big resistance lines, on the big resistance points.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
It makes sense, because you would never know if a stock is going further. It's impossible to know. So you have to have something that you pay attention, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully that answers your question, James, and a really good question. Thanks for bringing it up.
Hey, we have another question that Cornelius can't drive at the present moment, or he is driving at the present moment, so he can't talk live. But he wanted to find out our opinions on CYAP and FZRO.
I never cared much for CYAP, so maybe Shido can answer that one. But for me, that FZRO, that was and still is a really decent merger. I mean, that this hydrogels business that they're in, and the valuation on it, like if you look at the valuation they put on that thing, it was massive. I forget, it was probably like 50 times the market cap. And so, I figured that, back in the day, I would do trades like that all the time, even pre-COVID, and they would just go and go and go until they kind of reached the valuation at least. And we're in kind of a different world now where, I guess no one who's doing any form of real value investing is interested in this at all. And the majority of the volume's going into trips and things, and so as good as I think FZRO is, whether or not it finds an audience is a different story, and that's, I guess, the pain of trading in a liquid market is it isn't always fair in that way. You know what I mean? And so I continue to be blown away at the fact that no one buys it. If anyone opened their release, and it had an okay move when they put out their release, but it only lasted a day. So
Wow.
I can't answer the question. You know what I mean? I believe it's an excellent setup, but finding a buyer is really a different discussion.
What's crazy is they only have 505,000 shares held at DTC.
Yeah, and when people
That's
started
it.
digging into it, I mean, and people are so scared now of getting dumped on, understandably, because of how they're getting treated. One big sell ended it. Like, that was it. One person had a bunch and they sold it, and everyone just permanently walked away. And that's where we're at right now, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I own both, and when I say own, that means I trade both, obviously, right? I mean, they are very volatile. They don't have regular volume and stuff, so it's not an investment, It's I trade them, but I own both at the moment, at least parts of it that I had. I mean, FZRO, had an unbelievable move for me. I mean, I bought like low to mid teens, and I told a few guys about it. They also bought, and it went to 120. But as Kiko said, of course, it didn't last long, right? But you have to be quick on this stuff. I mean, it has 500,000 float. So this stuff is volatile. And CYAP, this is something that I mentioned before. If you see LTNC with a market cap of 150 million, it's all good because it's a cult stock, that's fine. But then you have CYAP. I mean, they had a change of control a while ago. They had a reverse split, and since then never diluted a share. It's sitting at 150,000 market cap. And they have they brought a business in with some oil stuff or whatever. They have their problems for sure. But I mean, this is trading like it's cheaper than most shells out there trade, you know. And on this setup, never diluted since the reverse split, because they were a bad dilution company before the reverse split. But since then, the new guys that took over, it's still the same as you know, just still on the float. So that's wild, you know. But there is not much interest. They had some troubles lately. I saw that they had to change the auditor a few times. I don't know what's up with that. And then the new guy, I don't know, resigned, and so there is trouble. But I mean, it's incredible setups both, if they get some interest.
I want to respond to Crisco. The live news on Thinkorswim, which hopefully that's the Schwab app, because you must, if you're one of the last few remaining TD Ameritrade clients, I miss TD Ameritrade already. It will show up eventually. The question is, will it show up when the press release is posted? So I see that it got picked up on 4:10, but what time? Like, if they put out the press release at 9, I highly doubt, because of my experience, that at 9 o'clock, that you would see it on Thinkorswim's app. It would be quite substantially later. See right here. What does it say? 12:08 or 9:12 in 8 seconds. See, so it might take a considerable amount of time for it to actually post to that platform. Anyways, just wanted to address something that somebody posted on the chat.
Beauty. Well, anyone else got something on their mind? Great chat so far. I've really enjoyed this. It's
What's up with VIZC?
What was that?
VIZC.
Yeah, so this one has a new CEO, and he actually came in a couple months ago. This guy, and he, back in February, or maybe January. January, new CEO came in, and then they announced
the stock jumped up.
Yeah, and it jumped up, and then it just kind of died out, and then today, kind of just like out of nowhere, they started buying it up. So, I mean, maybe it was a sympathy to the fact that ILST had a new CEO, but there is a new CEO there, and you know, I mean, the setup is. You know, it's 10 billion AS and 2.7 billion unrestricted, but you know, if you can work your levels, you know, you can't turn your nose up at things like that because they do it. So, you know, if you can work your levels correctly and just say stay above X price and work on it, then maybe you could have something there. You know what I mean? And the other one to look at would be Dakashiden, DKSC, because they have that new CEO who's going to be announcing something at some point soon. And, you know, I don't know what his announcement will be. It'd be nice to find out. But that's another one that's kind of on that new CEO list.
On this VizConnect, or VIZC, they did put out a tweet like 9 hours ago, so that might have had something to do with it, because their last press release is on February 12th. They announced a new strategic business plan, right? Well, they said that they're making great strides with their business plan, and things are going really well. So pleased with positive momentum, looking forward to a strong Q2 finish. And so I think, again, we find another place where a company's tweet affected their volume, because there was no press, there was no filing, and there was just this communication where they had, 6.7 thousand impressions, and their investors got behind what they said today.
Well, listen, if that works, then great. It's not it was a tough trader back in the day. I don't think they made too much of it during COVID. It had an okay move, but it was always, let me just pull it up again just to refresh my memory. But it never was one of those household name trips. Like it had an okay move. And I mean, like, and the thing is, when you look at, like, everything moved a lot during COVID. So yeah, it had an okay move to dub 5, which it sounds funny, like, oh, just okay. But by COVID standards, that wasn't huge.
No, they were at 0001, so from there to dub 5 is not bad.
It's a very good move, but if you look at Dark Pulse and AITX and like some of the brand name trips runners, it never really reached that or ENZC that went to I got 50 cents. Like dub 5 was okay for the time. But if you were to get through on this one, if you were to kind of clear trip 6 and then start in on the 7s and like build some support around there could be an okay move, because I think the volume weighted average price to that original dub 5 run is like, they're bagged on average to the tune of dub 2. So there could be a move up to that for sure, and then you're going to run into a lot of static. But until then, there could be a move there.
So what's the call? You buy, if just hypothetically speaking, you buy here and then you put in your good till cancel sell order at like dub 2, dub 19.
For me, the way I'd handle it is I mean, if it taps 7, I'd fill 6, then I'd set a stop for trip 5, and and then I'd have to watch it, because if it just got massacred through trip 5, then I would say, okay, this was just a 1-day pump and dump or whatever. But if it was just oscillating between 6 and 5, then I would kind of be more at peace with it. And so it would be, tap 7, fill 6, stop at trip 5, and then say your prayers and see if it continues. I think that's really, and it's annoying to be playing with such tight margins, but part of the reason I'm doing it right now anyways, like, because back in the day, COVID days, it'd be like, they'll get around to it, don't you worry. But now they don't really get around to it. So there'll have to be a point, a couple of weeks or something, where I'll have to say, okay, now this money is collecting dust and I could be using this money elsewhere, and now I gotta go.
Makes sense.
Which symbol is this you guys are talking about?
VIZC.
Okay. Yeah. They were after it today. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. We talked about it, Pat, earlier. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I hope that answers your question, man. I know you're driving and can't join us, but next time, come up and talk about some stocks with us, man. This is all about building a community, so we're happy that we could answer your question and address those 2 stocks. And if you have any other questions, let us know. Who's up next, man? Fox, R to the J. Here we go. We got a conversation
bunch of requests here. Let's go.
I'm up. Let's go.
What's up, Nick? How you doing, man?
Man, feeling great. Feeling fantastic. It's springtime, man. I'm feeling like the volume just might explode at some point here, man. I'm feeling good. How you guys doing, man?
Pretty good, man.
Real good.
What stock you got for us today?
What do I got today? We got a new client, so I'm always gonna shout out my client. CBNT.
Before you go on, I want to say that is a decent company.
Very surprised here. Very surprised here myself.
I mean, as far as stock performance, I guess maybe you can help them manage how to do that correctly.
That's your job. That's the job of the retail investor. I'll help get the word out.
Failing so far, but as far as the company goes, though, I mean that's a class company. So please go on.
Yeah. Listen, I'm getting to know them too. So I don't know too much about them, but I'll tell you what I try to vet the companies. Number one, just to make sure they're a real company. Like, we don't take companies that are startups, and they're just an idea. So we try to get companies that, you know, have real businesses, and if they don't have, if they're trying to build a real business, they're a rock star CEO. But in this case, it's both. The CEO was already on the NASDAQ. So he was CEO of a NASDAQ company. I haven't dug into it. If somebody wants to dig in and tell me if he did a good job or not, that'd be great. But I will dig in. But they have a ballistics technology on Windows. And basically it's a patented technology company.
C-Bond NanoShield.
Yeah, C-Bond, exactly. So, I mean, the two things that stood out to me right away, look, I don't overthink these things. They got revenue, they got profit, and the CEO's been on the NASDAQ, dude. You know, and for me, that's almost I set a premium to that. I set a premium with the CEO has done it before, because, dude, it's hard. And you're really betting on, as much as you're betting on these companies, you're betting that the monkey driving the boat can make it happen, man. You know, so that's my new position. GRPS, of course, they just put up a picture of some broodstock shrimp. They're over there farming. 3DX is focused on pedestal screws, which is very interesting. Super high margin. It's basically screws that when you screw yourself together in an operation, they're printing those screws right now for training doctors. So that's an interesting.
What's your moniker? Get screwed?
I like that. I don't know if it'll work for the OTC. Probably not the hashtag.
We're doing that already, man. Come on.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So, Nick, I got a serious question for you. When are you going to get one of these companies on the show, man?
Hey, listen, what do you call it? That's a great question. Let me see. I'm trying to think right now. You know what? I'll talk to CBNT. Hold on. Let me put this I'm going to write this down because I'll forget.
There you go.
We'd love to have them, because my question for them is going to be, like, why isn't that NanoShield on every windshield in North America?
Like, well, it's interesting, because if you shoot at scale, right, especially at the beginning, here's what's interesting about most businesses. OTC is really relative here, because a lot of them are startups. If you're trying to aim for a market, right, and there's one market that you can tackle that has 100 million customers, and another market that has 10,000 customers, like, if you don't know, you say to yourself, well, let's tackle the bigger market. But with limited resources, a lot of times it's almost better to tackle the 10,000, monopolize that, and then move on. I'll give an example of a company we all know about, Amazon, right? They started out, it was only books. They could have entered into sneakers and a ton of other products, but they knew with their limited resources, we have to monopolize the market. So if you listen back to him at the beginning, he was buying first edition books and certain products that when he had them, you had to go to Amazon because no one else had that first edition book, right? So he monopolized that. And it wasn't until he bankrupted Books A Million and really put a dent in Barnes & Noble that they kind of started expanding. So my point with CBNT is that he has a play where he's focused on schools and window manufacturers, not just business to consumer, right? Business to business, which is actually easier if you think about it, because I can go today, get somebody off of Fiverr to give me a list of every single window manufacturer in America. It's not that list isn't that big, right? And target them. And when I mean by limited resources, I mean people and time.
I immediately thought of a different angle, Nick. What company would benefit the most from this application that would actually or potentially save them a ton of money? Have you thought about the insurance industry? I mean, they pay a lot for cracked windshields, and if they could pay less to have their insurers use the coating, then and it would save them money. You could have a huge boost in revenue just by partnering or getting sponsored by an insurance company.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I haven't thought about that. I mean, like I said, I just
get him on here because I'd love to hear. I've always said, even though it's been a tough trade, and interestingly enough, when they first merged in on that ticker, that thing went like, I don't know if you remember, this was like 2018. It went like 10,000% or something. It was unbelievable.
You want to hear?
And so, you know, if they get this turned around, it could be really, really good
Look, they
for sure.
just had a profitable year. I mean, the guy's definitely focused on what I call the report card, which is your financial statements, right? Like the guy's focused on that. They just had a profitable year, and his angle at going after schools and new school development is pretty interesting because, you know, the schools are getting all
There's a
shot
lot
up.
of red tape, man. It's great
Yeah,
for
that's well,
publicity, but there's so much red tape. There's so many board of directors and all the stuff that you have to go through. It's going to be like bleeding a turnip for him
I
to get
hate to
revenue out of
interrupt,
that.
but I think Fox has a point he'd like to make here. I think he's trying to, so maybe he's got something to say. Go ahead, Fox.
What's up, Fox?
It's not more of a point. It's more of a question. I lost connection. I had to jump back in because I do have a question about stocks or the OTC in general. I'm in a few stocks. I'm in IGPK, FBEC, triple ENF. I'm in 88 Energy. If anybody's following that,
Yeah.
I'm starting to kind of like I'm not quite there for day trading yet, right? So I'm kind of, you know, swing trading, FBEC and IGPK. Now, they're one of my two bigger swings, right? FBEC has some news coming out tomorrow. Now, I noticed that sometimes in the Nasdaq stocks, they have when a Nasdaq stock receives good news, positive news, it jumps up. But for some reason in the OTC, whenever some good news comes out, it drops. Now, my so and like I said, I'm not a day trader. I'm like a swing trader, right? Or at least trying my hand at it. Is that like
So
is that
I'll
is
answer.
that
I already know the question, and the
okay?
answer to your question is this is called baking, and the problem that you're having is that like the question to you is if everyone knows something is coming, who's left to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Because like unless there's mole people that can spring out of the ground and buy it from you, then everyone who's a potential audience to the thing that had news come out already holds it. So really there would be nothing other that could happen but go down.
Can I layer that? Can I layer that? Because I have it's almost like I think what he's trying to say is almost like if they say, hey, look, they're going to put out an announcement on Monday about the interest rate, right? And if you know anything about finance, you understand the interest rate moves a lot of money, right? So if sometimes the announcement before the announcement is the announcement, if that makes sense, right? So like if you tell if you tell me the interest rates, they're going to make an announcement on Monday, everyone's taking their bet on Friday. They're not taking it Monday. They're not moving the money Monday. So the position's going to move before it. Right. So that's part of it. And then I don't know anything about the tickers, but I would say, does it have liquidity, and how much how much are the insiders or the people that are, finance the company have in free trading shares, because they usually wait for an announcement to sell. Right. They're the guys that are loaded are waiting for an announcement to have volume. So if a stock doesn't have volume and then they make an announcement and somebody's putting up, purchase orders, then of course it's going to go down because people were waiting for that announcement to sell. So I don't know that stock specific, but I would look at the volume too. If it's low volume, then anything can make it move.
And then the additional trouble. Oh, go ahead, Fox. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all right. My question was like, all right, so like tomorrow, FBEC has like some news. They're supposed to be like, they're supposed to announce the OTC codes for Vietnam, and so people can get in on the OTCs. Whatever the news is tomorrow, I don't know what it is, but so let's sidestep from that. Like IGPK had that reverse split announcement. After that, I think personally, whether it's fake or real is another discussion. IGPK had that reverse split announcement in, on Twitter or X, and the stock just tanked, right? Is that like normal for the OTC? Like, because I think that somebody did it on purpose to get the stock to drop so they can scoop up cheaper shares.
Okay, so I mean I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, I've been, as you know, like I've been involved with, you know, the creation of filing RE. I was like the original SOS guy back when people were just front loading SOS actions and pretending like they were the kings of trading. Like I was the guy that democratized SOS actions. That was my baby. And you know, the probability of that being a fake release on the SOS is like it would be like getting hit by lightning. And so, like, I mean, I in my opinion, the smart money left, and I'm not quite sure what this money is, but I worry very much for them when that split hits. Very much.
I want to touch that question, take a different approach to that question, which is, I think it's dangerous to assume a lateral move in either direction based off of a news release. So, like, if the premise is, A, does every time someone, you know, reverse split, does it go up or down? It does both. If you look historically and you audit,
It does both, but very
100.
seldom does it go up.
Yeah, if you exactly. So I mean, but I would look at the data, right? Look at other companies that did it, and you'll see that it goes up or down. So take your probabilities for what they are, and say to yourself, you know, if 80% of the time it goes down or 80% of the time it goes up, whichever you see, you can bake that into your equation. But I would be cautious. Myself, I would be cautious about looking at a catalyst like that and saying, you know, because I'll tell you, I have conversations with CEOs all the time. And, you know, they discuss a reverse split when they, you know, talk about an uplist, and they have a question mark next to that, right? They don't know what the market's going to do. Like, a serious investor will look at that and say, okay, they're on their way to an uplist. This is a real company. They might get good financing and the business might grow. And someone else may look at that and be like, fuck these guys. They just fucking, you know, screwed me out of my whole investment. So I would be cautious. Me, myself, I'd be cautious about trying to take that information and making a bet on that information, just because I don't know how the market would react. I think it's more of a volume thing. Like, if it's got low volume, then the probability of it going up or down is crazy either way. If it's got high demand and people are chatting about it on Twitter and people are excited about it, you know, again, I don't know. I don't know. I guess the answer is the same. I wouldn't know.
And it also depends. I mean, I would argue on the size, of course, of a reverse split. You know, if you do a 1 to 1,000, I mean, that basically screws you out any pre-split investor out of his stake. You know. That's something
think
different.
About this too. There's something to think about there too, because you're absolutely right, Shido. And one of the things I would think about is the higher the reverse split, the lower the float, the easier it is to manipulate. And if you don't think these guys are manipulating it all the way to the NASDAQ, they know they need to get it above a certain price, right? So if you believe
but how do they keep it there?
Well, you got to create a real business.
They can't keep it there if they want to raise capital at all.
You got to create a real bit. No, they can do it, but they just don't.
No, they did it. Again, I keep on going back to this company, but GMGI, the only reason they did reverse was to qualify for NASDAQ's final qualification of the price per share. And that stock ran heavy after the reverse. It surprised the mess out of me. I couldn't believe it ran so hard after.
I'm going to put out something real novel for you guys here, and something for everybody in the audience to chew on too, if anyone's interested. I would love to write a white paper or a book or something on OTCs that uplisted and just analyze them and just take like 20, 25 companies that did it.
I did it. You're not going to like the results.
On the NASDAQ, they get
I think I will like the results. I'll tell you why, because that is everything. Information is everything. So just knowing what happened will make us all better investors, I think.
Yeah, I think I think what we had, Shido, you've probably seen it as well. 95% of them lose 90% of their value.
They pay a heavy price to make that listing.
So hold on. That would be interesting to compare to what's happening when you list on the NASDAQ, because the same thing's happening there, guys.
That's what I'm saying.
The NASDAQ, they go to zero, basically.
And it's not zero, but okay, in the case, I'm just using GMGI as a case study. They used DF Hutton to list. And EF Hutton made them do 2 separate raises that they didn't need. They already had like over 13 million cash on hand. They already had everything they
Not
needed. They
enough.
should have just done a SPAC. They didn't. They ended up raising a $3 million raise, which was EF Hutton getting in their big guys without with warrants and stuff that really crushed the stock. And then another raise that was for like 10 million they didn't even need. And EF Hutton destroyed the stock.
Well,
Down from $8 or $9 a share all the way down to $2.
I've had a couple meetings with EF Hutton. Here's the thing with investment bankers. If you go to an investment banker and you say, we want to raise $3 million, that's all we need. And you might be right? It's the best thing for the shareholders. They won't do the deal. There's not enough money in it for them. An investment banker gets paid a percentage of what they raise. So like I went to the last conference I went to, I talked to investment bankers. They're like, dude, they laugh you out of the room if you're talking about anything less than 10 million. And 10 million is a low raise for them. Like, so they may do it to create a relationship with you, hoping that you'll raise more money.
Oh, no, they begged GMGI to do this extra raise after they had already done the initial raise. They begged them to do it, and they said it was just to get their special insider guys in. It was going to really be great for the stock. Well, those guys, they got warrants, and they exercised a bunch of those warrants in that little deal and destroyed the stock. It was...
I'll tell you what I heard directly from the mouth of an investor. It wasn't an EF Hutton guy, but it was an investment banker. And I was really surprised when he said it. He said to me, he was like, I said, because, we have clients. I want to raise money for these guys and get them on the NASDAQ. And he goes to me, he goes, Nick, I want $1.5 million, $3 million for myself out of the deal. This guy was we had a couple of drinks together, right? I want $3.5 million out of myself for the deal. Maybe my brokerage wants them too. So you're talking about $4 million. How much do you have to raise to get $4 million commission? You're not raising 40 million. Nobody on Wall Street, they're not raising 40, 50 million. So what are they doing? They're taking a $10 million deal and baking in crazy fees, dude, in different ways. They'll take it in stock over here. They got an LP over there. They take their straight commission here and they bake it in. So if they raise 10, they get 3 or 4, which is crazy expensive for the company. It's not really the best for the shareholder. But if you understand Wall Street, you understand you can't make them move for less than that. It's hard.
And
it's hard to get these guys to make a move.
unless you go through them.
What's that?
And you can't get listed unless you go through them. It's a racket.
Yeah, it's bullshit. It's like they're the guard keeper. Exactly, correct. Yep. And if you read some of these books, a lot of the CEOs, like Tillman Furtado, when he took one of his companies public, he said in his book, he's like, I didn't know what I was doing dealing with them because he had the money to take himself public. But he had to run the money through a broker dealer. It had to be the money had to go through that before it went to the exchange. So he was like, I didn't understand what we were negotiating. It was my money, it was my investors, and these guys want a cut of it. And he was confused, but he had to pay him anyway.
R to the J, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, R to the J, for taking so long to get to you, man. What's going on?
All good. Yeah, all good. I was just wondering, this is all related. So what do you guys think about the, I think starting May 28th, they're changing the settlement date to T+1. You think that's really good? I know it was a little under the radar because it isn't the sexiest thing to talk about, but do you guys think that's going to help move things along a little bit? I know in comparison to crypto, the settlement dates really turn a lot of people off, especially younger investors. And it just seems like it's well needed.
I hope it helps a little bit. All we can do is hope it helps. You know what I mean? Can anyone guarantee it will help? No, because sometimes you wonder if people just left. You know what I mean? And would it matter? Because they can execute 100 crypto transactions a day if they want. You know what I mean? So. But if it makes a difference, I would love that. That's all I can say to it.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Can I give a controversial take on day trading in OTC markets? I think
there's no point doing it right now, but please go ahead.
I think that this is what if I was a day trader, I'm not a day trader. So first and foremost, I hold long positions in restricted paper on these companies. So I'm not a day trader. But if I was a day trader, I would go right to crypto. Like I wouldn't even touch the OTC, which is crazy, right? Because my first love was OTC, guys. I'm 42 years old. At like 17, man, I was looking at pink sheet stocks. It was so interesting to me. But there's the liquidity is so and the transactions are so fast on crypto. I don't know why you would risk liquidity issues if you were day trading. If I needed my money back today, right? Because that's kind of the point of day trading. So it's tough.
But I would argue, I mean, I know
somebody
what you
can
mean.
take the other side of that. Somebody take the other side.
No, I mean, I get what you mean, but then you have to do it strictly like technical or something, because otherwise on crypto, I have no reason to buy. If I buy something, if it's for one day or if it's for like I usually do for a swing.
You're not buying real companies. You're not buying
a swing.
Correct.
I'm buying, but if it's real or not, but I still have a reason to buy. I have a reason because it's a good setup. I have a reason because there might be a catalyst coming and I want to play the run to that. There is all kinds of reasons. My news might coming. They have good numbers, whatever. But I know every time I buy something on the OTC, I know why. You know, I can tell you why.
Yeah, well, I agree with you.
How would I know on crypto?
I think that's the biggest value of the OTC is that the real underlying assets. When you find the real companies, you find real assets and real value. Like, you know, like that was my first with 3DX. That was one of my biggest things. I went to the factory and I saw machinery that they could sell. And I was like, okay, well, this thing can't go to zero because they have money. They're going to, you know, they have assets. They have real assets. So, yeah, I feel you on that. Crypto, I don't feel has that, right?
That's an argument for investment, I guess. But even for swing trader, it's an argument that I need a reason. I personally, and others, if you just trade based on a chart, then go with crypto, I guess, because you have everything there what you want.
It's pretty tough to just, because I'll hear people say, "Oh, I'm doing swing," but like, why are you swinging it? Like, because like if something's just a flat line, you know, in a market that's, you know,
well, I was talking to his settlement comment, right? Because it's like crypto is just faster. It's just faster, right? So if you're day trading, if the idea is I want to go grab a burger.
That is 24/7. Stock market can't even. It's 24/7 days a week.
I kind of like it being closed. I'm not gonna lie.
I do too. I
want to turn off.
The lifestyle that OTC provides, like, I mean, you know, I am doing some crypto stuff right now and finally finding some success with it. But, you know, I sure, if we could go back and, you know, I'd be back at it full time in a minute because the lifestyle was just far superior.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. I mean, after hours in Nasdaq is already a bad thing. But having to monitor your position 24 hours. I mean, when will you sleep, or do you always risk of getting wrecked?
Happen at night.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I would go insane. I mean, I already have a 60 hours a week on the OTC alone. So how can it's tough. I mean.
Most of the crazy moves happen at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Like it's insane to see some of the.
Your timing, like I have a very small position in Ether, but your timing, international markets, right? Like you you can literally see when China gets up. Like you can see, like at 9 o'clock at night here, 9 in the morning over there. It's like boom. You know,
but China's restricted from investing in cryptocurrency.
Asia, right? Okay. You're talking about that because it's international. That's the problem. That's the thing with crypto. It's not just like, oh, we have to worry about when London's up. No, you got to worry when the world is up. Because let's get real. You think you don't have access to Bitcoin in China? I've been to China, by the way. When you can go there, get a VPN, right? Like, there's crypto. And I'm talking about Asia though, just Asia in general. You got Singapore. Yeah, Singapore's a giant financial market over there. You know, you got Japan, right? Like, there's big markets. And it's 24/7. Like you said, it's 24/7 now.
Yep. The CCP, if they find out, that will take all your shit.
Go ahead, Sergeant Skeeter.
Did somebody say IGPK?
I believe you did. Go ahead.
Yes. We love it.
Did somebody say IGPK? Okay. So, I actually wanted to talk about some other stocks, but since it was that came up, I promise I actually unbuckled my conspiracy theory hat on this one for this. So, I do want to say,
thank you.
yeah, there's an immense amount of DD on this, and it's really interesting to see how JFH is marketing this whole thing to the Chinese investors. You can tell that the way they're marketing it is they're selling. They're trying to sell something to their customers. And they actually already, a lot of people, after the reverse split filing came out, which is legitimate, confirmed, everything's legit. It is literally word for word of what Eric Newland has done on previous companies in the Novato SOS system. Ironically, those companies posted a video on their WeChat of the Nevada site, and they highlighted the 2 billion authorized shares that they increased back in December. And when you translated it, it translated to they were telling their what am I trying to say? They're telling the investors in China, or just the people in China on WeChat, that they had already authorized those 2 billion shares that they called for, which can only relate to that filing. So there's a lot of interesting data that does correlate with what we're seeing in these little scarce filings. So I'll leave that out there. I'm all done with IGPK, I promise. The other two I want to talk about though was AHRO, which is pretty exciting. I was just introduced to them probably about 2 months ago. I've been kind of watching them, and they're organic. It seems like their CEO keeps talking organic growth, and when I go back and follow their story the last couple of years, it's pretty impressive kind of where they've come from and now where they're at. And the filings and their press releases last week have been pretty exciting. I just don't know if you guys had looked into it yet, or what are your thoughts on AHRO?
It's fine. I mean, if he can keep it above a certain level, it's fine. Like I'll recuse myself from this one. Maybe Shido,
this one,
you would like
Chris
to.
Giordano came from EF Hutton. That's where he got his background, and that name keeps on ringing a bell all day today so far. But yeah, he knows how to work stuff. If that's where he grew his roots, back from 81 to 84 with EF Hutton, he's worked with a ton of companies.
Yeah, I like AHRO. I own it right now. I swing it. I bought a nice position in mid trips lately. I said so on Twitter when I did. It's not usually my thing from setup standpoint, but I think the business has potential. From what he says, this could be a nice grower on the business side, and dilution is rather diminished lately, so that's all good. But as Pat said, I mean, they disappointed in the past. They had a lot of false alarm in the past, and we will see how they do.
Yeah,
they're late on their 10K.
I think you got to just be, commit to a level and say, please stay above that level, because like historically, every time like guys would just kind of crawl out of the woodwork and be like AHRO, and then it would and you just be like, why is this all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And then it would just get sold off. So, I mean, just commit to a level and know that if it starts going below it, you aren't wrong to protect yourself.
Yeah, they clearly haven't delivered what they promised in the past. That's for sure. Right now, it looks good, and I definitely am interested in if they deliver this time.
They're late on their 10K. They filed an NT on 3/29. They got how many days before it's due again? So
15, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll see what happens
with the NT. That's fine.
Anything else, Sergeant Skeeter?
Skeet.
Right.
Hey, everybody that's in the group today, if you have a chance, I just put a tweet, or if you can still call it that, an X in the in the comments section, with a link to our YouTube channel. You're gonna find shorts with some of the best snippets out of the Q&As and open mics that we do, as well as replays of every open mic and every Q&A with public companies. And each one of these things are going to be thumbnailed, so you can go back to specific points in the conversation and look up specific information. So it's for your due diligence purposes. We're here for you to build a community, and I'm if you guys would like and retweet that link to our YouTube channel and subscribe if you have a second. We'd love to connect with you guys on there. To speak, man. I know you got to talk. We're about to close this out. I was giving you one last chance to speak before we close out tonight's session.
There you go.
I actually missed what's going on. Anything hot?
A lot. You're going to have to listen to the replay, man. There was a lot.
Anything new on IGPK or no?
Nothing new.
Todd Rock's looking good.
Yeah,
TDRK.
that's been a really good move. You know, it was pretty iffy for a while there. It kept losing all the bid support, but it's been great lately.
Yeah.
And we're looking at that IWAL. Did you see that?
IWAL?
IWAL.
IWAL. No, I haven't seen it. I'll look at that. I thought you said HWAL, AWAL.
No.
Okay.
I'm surprised nobody mentioned SIRC today, up 50%.
Which one?
SIRC.
Well,
Brett the other day told us that it'll probably go to no bid.
It will because of the debt.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Forget it.
That's done. I mean, just honestly, guys, that's done. There's no way that's coming back.
Yeah, gotta do a reverse.
It's the old
and
switcheroo, and everyone's like, "Well,
start
no
over.
chance." And then someone defaults or something, and they moon it. Who knows? But
yeah,
it's an ugly sucker. I'll tell you what.
Well, they served Massey, the ex-CEO, but they've got some serious problems that were that happened while he was there. So I don't know. OTC, do you have any thoughts on? Let's see, what was that one? Created CRTD.
CRTD. They used to be vocal. Yeah.
I mean, the float is so low. It's like not doing anything. They had some decent press.
It's just fresh off of a split.
Right.
And I don't know what he's up to in terms of like whether or not he wants to re-uplist or whatever, but like I can tell you by looking at it that he's unloading on it since the split.
Yeah. And he's a QB though, so I mean it's costing him quite a bit, I would assume, to stay current on the QB side.
I'm guessing he's making it back on the shares that he's unloading, because it's like, I mean, he's selling as many shares post-split
How about this?
as he was pre-split.
I'm friends with Jeremy Frommer. I'll call him and get him on the show.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'd love to hear, because that's looking like a nasty situation.
Yeah. Let's see. There was one. If y'all don't mind, I'm just kind of glancing through some notes that we're coming across. Let's see here. What about, have any of y'all ever been on that WRPT, the warp speed? I know it's been around a long time, but the float is like 2 million.
This is something I would think that people would really go after if they ever come up with that monster merger that they are talking about, 100 million in revenues, whatever. This is something I think a lot of the Twitter OTC guys would get behind.
Now if
it gets revved up, I'll assume it'll be a boiler room promo.
Shido, let me ask you something about that. I was told a while back that they had like an actual tax CYAP in India. I mean, do you know that to be any kind of factual or not?
What do they have in India?
Well, they're called Warp Speed Taxi, and I was told they had an app like Uber, but in India, and they had a few people running the app, like actually doing pickups and stuff. I don't know how much of that is true.
It says it on their website. I mean, it has pictures of the app, has pictures of the taxi, and it's for ride hailing, courier and delivery, and food and grocery delivery.
Does it work? Is there any way to see if the app actually works?
I'm not in India. I can't tell.
I'm talking about Wonderport. Are you talking about the same stock?
No, I'm talking about WRPT, Warp Speed.
Okay.
Yeah, Warp Speed Taxi, yeah.
Okay, no, I don't know anything about it. I was talking about Wonderport. You know?
Yeah, look at the float on Warp Speed. Look at the share structure. I mean, the authorized is insane, I believe. Let me go back and look here.
700,000, yeah. 700,000 float, yeah. Yeah, it's low. It's low.
Authorized is 500 million. There's only 239.5 million outstanding.
Yeah.
And there's 699,000 held at DTC.
Something doesn't add up with that though, because you got that held at DTC, but they read a float on that back in 2021, which was 23 million or something.
Did they do a reverse or anything?
Let's see if they did a split.
Yeah, something doesn't add up.
No, it says no splits. Wait.
There has been no splits. Split. Yeah.
Okay, and he just did a 10Q, right, in March. Let's see here. It's 40 cents.
I would caution that the float number from 21 that could nothing else be than this is not automatically from the TA, so they just took the unrestricted number probably and put it there.
Yeah, it is possible.
Well, the outstanding and the restricted and the unrestricted's got to be, those are straight from the TA. Those have to be right.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is many companies, they do manually put the float number there. And until recently, when a lot of companies themselves got aware of that the DTC number is what the actual float is.
Right.
But in earlier years, many of them put that the same number what the unrestricted is into their float manually on OTC markets because it's not updated by the TA, you know? And that's why you probably have that number there.
I mean, the outstanding only being 239. I mean, I think if there is to be a push, this is probably an easy 10 or 20 cent move.
Like to me, like I'll tell you that this, like when they rev this up, it has the smell of like a Pedro's List or like some boiler room shit. No, it does. I mean, that's what it is. So we know it is.
That's a strong statement,
no, it
man.
is.
Now,
what do you know? We've been around. That's what it smells like. That's what, and those moves are like off the chain.
Oh yeah.
That's how this strikes me.
Well,
we'll see if I'm right or wrong. I'll mark the timestamp on this, and we'll. Come back to it.
Let me just say what I heard, and it's only street slang. I heard that there's some ballers in Dubai that are behind this.
Yeah, you see, that's what I'm talking about.
And if you look at the chart, I mean, they already had a 10-bagger on it in February, you know. And if you watch the volume, then you see that the TTC number is actually completely right when you on the float, because this was moving a 10-bagger with, like, if you count all the volume, it's probably 150 or 200,000 shares, you know, and a 10-bagger.
Wow.
And that's how you see that the unrestricted number is nowhere the float on this one at the moment. They can deposit at any time, obviously, but nothing with 24 million float can move 10 times on 200,000 shares.
But what we can do is obviously watch the unrestricted number. I mean, if this thing starts moving and that unrestricted number doesn't change each day, you know, I mean, the one day it does, then I would be watching big time. But
what you have to watch is the DTC number, because the unrestricted can stay the same and they could still be selling. Why? Because they can sell unrestricted into the DTC all the time, you know, and that's the risk. That's
so
why
you're saying to watch the held at DTC number.
Yes, because there has been cases where there was selling and everybody said, how is this possible? The unrestricted is the same.
Okay, so let's say if there is a move, let's watch the DTC. Let's keep a track of the DTC and maybe start discussing this a little.
That's the thing. And don't forget, they can deposit every day, overnight, they could deposit some of that unrestricted shares into the DTC, and then they would be selling suddenly.
Right, but look at the author. I mean, they could also authorize. I understand, but look at the authorized is on is 500 million, and the outstanding's 239. So I mean, it's still not a drastic out of the
people that they'll be cold calling about this are never going to check. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Incredible move in February.
Well, there's on the radar. On the radar.
Yeah, it could make a great move. No question about it. But
all right.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about VDRP. That's what I said. People could go behind it. Kiko, you have been watching the VDRP lately?
I have.
No.
No.
I tried that so many times. And every time it seems to be worse.
Been frustrating. They came up with that 100 million merger. I'm just saying it's the same like what they usually go after on Twitter, if they ever come up with that stuff,
OTC,
because it's a good setup.
Did you catch that run on Hollywall last time, the HWAL, when it ran from 98 cents to $22?
That was one of the most unbelievable. I mean, that move for me, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like that was it. And I mean that one, and then obviously SECI, SECI, which changed my life.
Hey, don't forget VTXB on the ride.
VTXB.
Yeah, remember we talked about it, and it goes from like 0005, 678, then back to 5, and then 678. It just seems to keep right in that range.
It's pretty crazy, for a Bitcoin stock. Like Bitcoin is just smashing all-time highs.
Right.
And this can only just go 5, 6, 7, 8 and back down to trip 3 and then do it all over again. Like
I know.
Like I should have, why not just buy Bitcoin? This thing is so painful.
Well, they're a miner. That's why they're a miner Bitcoin.
Well, they should mine faster or something.
Well, they can't.
What is this?
Hey, I'm wondering because the mining's going to be cut in half, right, here shortly. So,
jeez, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's inverse and it'll move then. I don't know.
I don't know.
The worst.
Are they still paying the cash dividend? Or no?
Oh, I mean, well, the guys involved with this have a bunch of different stocks where they've promised some sorts of dividends. And I know people with some of the dividends from their other plays in their account that are just worthless. So I don't necessarily know.
No, this is cash. Although it's like quad 5.
Yeah, it's so little. I mean, it's much less than a tick difference. Just buy a tick cheaper, and you have 10 times the divvy.
Well, unless you had 100 million or 300 million shares, it'd be a little different.
Yeah, if you have real size, for sure. I mean, but usually this divvy stuff, I mean, it's overrated. Also on other things, because on the ex-divvy date, that the stock will lose the same amount, and then you be in the same position again. I mean, unless it's like an investment in a blue chip or something. But this divvy stuff on the OTC is often overrated.
Yeah. Well, should we wrap it?
Thanks, guys.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us, or actually X. Whoa, wow, flashback to old school. Follow us on X, OTC Method, or Kiko Stocks. You got Shudo_74, or JRC Stocks. We're here to build a community. We're here to bring due diligence from real companies right to the table so you can hear it from the horse's mouth. And we have more companies coming your way soon. So stay tuned every Tuesday and Thursday for JRC Spaces or OTC Stock Talk. You guys have a great night.
See you later.
Have a good one.
See you guys.